about you is that you have ambition to be great. My job is to coach you to get all that greatness out of you.
What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason, and we are back here for another one. Already 110 of you in the room. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you are new. Show some love. We passed 8,600. We're well on our way to 9,000. I appreciate all of you for showing love on that last training camp video. Man, an hour show, over 11,000 views. Appreciate all of you for showing support to your boy. All right, I thought it was going to be back Tuesday. Here we are again. Pads come on tomorrow, but the Dolphins did practice today, so we're gonna go over everything. Obviously, as usual, we'll go over our usual training camp report. We got some highlights, but nothing really that. I mean, if you've been on social media today, you've pretty much seen them. Nothing really crazy from the highlight standpoint. I assume there will be more tomorrow with fans in attendance. And then I wanted to take a look at Josh Boyer's media availability. So we'll go over Josh Boyer's media availability. Then I want to talk about McDaniel a little bit, and then we're gonna go over and I want to talk about Trill Williams and such. So we got a lot to cover. On top of that, opening thoughts. I got a couple things I want to cover here. First things first, Deshaun Watson. Obviously, this is the talk of the town. This is the discussion going on. Here's my personal thoughts. Because of how I believe the appeal process works, whether the NFLPA does or whether the NFL or the NFL does, the appeal goes in front of Roger Goodell, I believe it is. Either way, I think they're going to try and tack on games. And the reason why I'm saying this is because if you actually read Judge Robinson and the report and everything, right? She basically says she found Watson engaged in sexual assault that was as defined by the NFL against 4 therapists, right? So they're going to point to that, right? The NFL is going to appeal this. They're going to point to that. She did find that Watson's conduct did pose a genuine danger to the safety and well-being of another person as laid out broadly by the NFL and their conduct policy. Right, because she's got to go off their conduct policy, right? So, another part she wrote, it's clearly within the purview of the NFL to expand the scope of its supervision to a player's private life if he invokes his status as a player while engaging in prohibiting conduct. See, the reason why she's at 6 games is she also referenced Ray Rice and how he got 6 games, and that seems to be the most common punishment. She did say also, while it may be entirely appropriate to more severely discipline players for nonviolent sexual conduct, I do not believe it is appropriate to do so without the notice of an extraordinary change this position portends for the NFL and its players. So she found him guilty of sexual assault under their conduct policy, right? Under their conduct policy, the NFL's conduct policy, yes, under that policy and those guidelines, he did put other people in danger. That's what she found. But again, because they are suggesting at least a year minimum, that is such a drastic shift from punishment they've held down. And I know what the NFL's argument is going to be. It's, well, these are different circumstances than we've ever dealt with, right? And she did also say, hey, he's a first-time offender, and he had an excellent reputation in his community prior to these events, right? So, I mean, listen, I think it doesn't matter what I think or what I feel or what we all think or feel, because I'm telling you, the NFL, when she says, hey, I found him guilty of all A, B, C under your conduct policy, they're going to appeal it. And they're going to appeal it under the sense of these are extraordinary circumstances. That's why we didn't make that extraordinary change yet. And furthermore, I believe this whole situation is going to lead to changes in the conduct policy, clearly. Right? Shout out to Mike for the $5 super sticker. Appreciate it. So I think he's going to get handed. They're going to appeal it, hand more games, and then I think the NFLPA is going to try and appeal it. And I think this is just going to continue on and on. As it stands today, if the 6 games holds up, he will play us this year. And I want Tua and our team to whoop that ass. I don't need to beat Brissett. We know what Brissett is. So, listen, as a father of 2 girls, listen, if this judge found him guilty of those things under the NFL's conduct policy, and she's a judge, an unbiased judge, who even pointed to how he's a first-time offender and has a long-standing reputation. I mean, if this judge found that, he did put people in danger and, he did sexually assault them under their conduct policy, what else is there for me to say? That is what it is. Now, of course, a court did not find it that way. And from a federal standpoint, yeah, he was acquitted, but we're talking about the NFL's conduct policy right now. And I'm telling you, they're going to push back. Roger Goodell's push back. Doesn't matter what any of us think. Roger Goodell's going to push back. Is what it is. So, hey, I just wanted to talk about that because that's the talk of the town. Give everyone a brief update of what's going on with that. In other news, if you guys have been following me since before last year's draft, the 2021 draft, you would remember I was very high on a certain right tackle out of Oklahoma State University by the name of Tevin Jenkins, and he ended up going in the second round. He ended up actually having a bad combine in terms of the physical check, and he ended up missing last year because of it. Well, apparently the Bears are fielding calls on him. And, I mean, they haven't even, legitimately given him a chance. This isn't even a matter of, hey, the guy's been there for a couple of years and he's not working out. This guy hasn't even legitimately got a chance yet. And I'm gonna need to for sure go get Tevin Jenkins. And remember, I was the top person in this community pushing Tevin Jenkins. When no one else was talking about Tevin Jenkins, your boy was talking about Tevin Jenkins. As we all know, draft is my specialty. He was one of my favorite tackles in that class from the rip. Right? I talked about the stuff he did against Osai, and everyone knows how huge I was on Osai coming out of Texas. Tevin Jenkins, special player, man. Special player. So when you look at this coaching staff and the potential under this coaching staff, and you look at the cost, and you look at where our depth is, our depth alone right now on the offensive line should make you intrigued, because, hey, I'm not here for feelings or draft status. If this guy comes in and beats out Austin Jackson, which I think he can, who cares? Put Austin Jackson back in the battle at left guard with Eichenberg then. Other news, if you are on the Patreon, I did a big update today. So speaking of center, one of the things I have heard is that Adam Pankey has been getting some work at backup center since the Dieter injury. So interesting stuff going on there. Yeah, but back to Tevin Jenkins here. Listen, if this guy can be had for like a 4th right now or a 5th, they're willing just to let him go. Let's see it. That man can move. For his size, that man can move. That man is scheme versatile too, bro. He could be in a zone. He could be in a power gap. Tevin Jenkins, he can move. Good size, power, smart player, high football IQ. Man, I'm down for Tevin Jenkins. 110%. Make that happen. If the cost is right. If they're asking for like a second, or a third, okay, I get why you'd say no. And they've had him working with the second team at camp. So, hey, New coaching staff came in, new regime is in from the top to the bottom. It's not their guy. That's not their guy. They don't want him. Hey, man. People seem to forget where Trent Williams was at in his career when he got traded. The guy was washed up, injury prone. No one thought nothing of him. He was on the downside of his career. Now he's in his early 30s and he's a 99 in Madden. His potential alone, they haven't even tapped into Tyreek Jenkins' potential yet. His ceiling under the staff, it would be ludicrous. So, and I know Bears fans are losing their mind that they're trading him, or they're looking to trade him. Bears fans are losing their mind because they haven't even given him a legitimate shot yet. So, yeah, man, interesting. If he can be had for like a 4th or a 5th, what? Someone explain to me. Go look at the depth. Who are you going to take, Greg Little or Tevin Jenkins? Right? Who do I want to see out there? Adam Pankey or Tevin Jenkins? Tevin Jenkins or Larnell Coleman? I'm taking Tevin Jenkins. The only kid from last year in the depth chart that we added that, you could have a conversation is Robert Jones. So there's a high floor ceiling, there's a high floor player. So if you can get him cheap, you make the call, man. Hey, we're not talking about this as a situation where with what's his face? The dude who was dancing on the whips that we got from Tennessee. The Ole Miss what the hell is his name? Guys, who's the dude we added last year in that trade? His name is slipping my mind. He was dancing on whips and he was rapping, he was drinking lean. Yeah, Isaiah Wilson. Isaiah Wilson had like known character issues and everyone in the league knew what the hell this was. All right. This is just, from what I understand, he's not their guy. They don't want him. I don't know. Let's see. We'll see how it works out, but I don't think they're going to be asking for much. Drafted in the 2nd. What are they going to ask me for? A 4th or 5th? And if that's a 5th, that's all day. I have that conversation all day with them. 5th. Are you kidding me right now? What's a 5th? What's a 5th? Yeah, Hammer. Coleman has been filling in for Armstead. I've heard good things about Larnell Coleman, man. So I'm not hating on the kid, but I mean, are we gonna sit here and say he's got the same ceiling? I don't know about that. That's it's a bit of a stretch, bro. It's a bit of a stretch. All right, let's get so what we're gonna do here, guys, is we're gonna get into everything. Like I said, we're gonna go over the training camp reports as always. And then I want to go over Josh Boyer. He said some really interesting things. He said some really interesting things in terms of just his relationship with McDaniel. So I want to get into that stuff. So let's get into all this stuff. Starting off, let's start off with the Miami Herald and their report from today. Again, Omar Kelly wasn't at practice today. Wishing him well. Here is what happened from day 5 at practice. This is the most exhausting week of Dolphins training camp with 6 practices in 7 days. During Monday's session, the 5th of training camp, backup quarterback Teddy Bridgewater sat out team drills because of an undisclosed injury, allowing rookie Skylar Thompson to get extra work, which he generally capitalized on. Bridgewater was on the field and listed as limited but not out. Highlights from Monday's practice. Rookie Eric Izukama. He and Braylon Sanders have been the best of the receivers competing for the number 4 job, and he caught a 40-yard touchdown from Tua Tagovailoa on Monday. Tagovailoa, he had another good day, delivering a 45-yard touchdown pass to Tyreek Hill on a crossing route, as well as the aforementioned long TD pass to Izukama. And I believe the Izukama one was in one-on-ones, and a 35-yard touchdown pass to Jalen Waddle over the middle. The Hill and Waddle throws, which came on consecutive plays, involved some run after the catch, but the Izukama play covered 40 air yards. Tagovailoa overthrew 2 passes to begin practice and threw an interception late in practice to Trill Williams. Man, I've heard if Byron Jones ain't starting on week 1, he's the guy up. He's the number 3 boundary corner right now. And I've heard the backup slot corner right now is Keon Crossan. More info on my Patreon. There appeared to be miscommunication between Tagovailoa and Waddle on the play, allowing Williams an opportunity to intercept it. Tagovailoa was very sharp otherwise. He also had a 10-yard pass to Ethan Carter and a 5-yard touchdown throw to Chase Edmonds. He also ran for a 10-yard touchdown. Bro, I have heard, I told you to put stock in it when Marcel came out and said Tagovailoa is sharp. I've heard Tagovailoa was again, just super sharp today. I've heard he looks real sharp. Linebackers Duke Riley and Sam McGuavin. Expected Guavin to make this team, by the way, guys. Riley, Miami's number 3 linebacker, continued an excellent training camp by knocking away Thompson's pass to Hunter Long in the end zone. And Guavin had a good play in pass coverage and flushed Tagovailoa from the pocket on one passing attempt, forcing him to throw it away. Thompson, given more an opportunity in Bridgewater's absence, acquitted himself well, delivering a short TD passes to Hill and Trent Sherfield in red zone drills, and then throwing a strike over the middle to Waddle for a touchdown, followed up by a 20-yard completion to Sherfield. He later threw a short touchdown pass to rookie tight end Tanner Connor. Look out, Teddy. You out here throwing picks. Skylar Thompson out here dicing and slicing, baby. Look at this. Williams, who had the impressive interception, the second-year cornerback from Syracuse, is making a strong case for the number 4 cornerback job. He has the 2 interceptions in training camp. Plays of the day, Tagovailoa evaded pressure to deliver the 40-yard pass over the middle to Izukama for the touchdown. Bro, where's the video? Beating Brandon Jones. It was a difficult throw because Tagovailoa was on the run, baby. Woo! Let's go. That improvisation, making plays outside of the pocket, another aspect of Tua's game he needs to be a little bit more consistent with. We've seen him flash with it, but we've never seen him be consistent with. So when we hear him moving around, on the move, 40-yard touchdown pass over the middle, hey, take notes. Don't put stock yet. But if he's doing this in joint practices, or if he's doing it in preseason games, or this needs to translate to the season between the processing we saw on that throw to Tyreek Hill and now to this description, I need to see this stuff translate to the regular season because, oh boy, if this starts translating, whoo-wee, saddle up. On the aforementioned Hill touchdown pass over the middle, Nick Needham was beaten again. Needham's been getting smoked by 2 in the receivers. And Needham good. That's Glock 40, bro. That's not a joke. Nick Needham is one of the best slot defenders in the NFL last year. He's fantastic. Gotten better every year in the slot. Reliable on the boundary. And Javon Holland couldn't come over quickly enough. Calvin Munson blew up running play to Zaquandre White. Melvin Ingram also stuffed a rushing attempt. Williams had that beautiful one-handed interception in the corner of the end zone on a fade to Waddle. That was Tagovailoa's only pick of the day and his second pick of camp, if you're keeping score. Raekwon Davis and Andrew Van Ginkel had sacks. Mohamed Sanu caught a touchdown in red zone drills. Nice to see, man. Zach Seiler was very strong against the run as usual. Myles Gaskin had a couple of nifty runs that could have gone for 10 or 15 yards in a real game. With Michael Dieter out for now, Cole Banwart remains the only natural healthy center on the roster. Another veteran is cross-training at center behind Connor Williams, but reporting rules prohibiting reveal that player's identity. I'll tell you right now, it's Adam Pankey. Larnell, that's what I said earlier. And I mean, again, I reported it earlier today too on the Patreon. Larnell Coleman and Greg Little have been uneven in their snaps on the offensive line. FYI, the team will practice in pads for the first time on Tuesday. Center Michael Dieter and defensive tackle Adam Butler remain sidelined, and Bridgewater, as noted, was limited but was not wearing any protective covering and seemed to be walking fine. Raheem Mostert and Alec Ingold were in red non-contact jerseys. The Dolphins have them in a maintenance program as they work their way back from the 2021 injuries. So that veteran they won't name that's working cross-training, that's Adam Pankey. I reported it earlier today on the Patreon, and I'm telling you guys right now, I think I said it earlier too. From what I understand, it's Adam Pankey. All right, continuing on to what the Sun Sentinel and David Furones, friend of the show, reported today. He said the Miami Dolphins had one final practice without full pads on Monday before training camp starts getting physical on Tuesday. And the Dolphins playmakers found space aplenty before the potential shift in practice tone once players are padded and tackling to the ground. Quarterback Tua Tagovailoa had back-to-back connections with his star wide receiver combination of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, where they caught the ball crossing at intermediate depth in the middle of the field with room to run into the end zone. Earlier in the same portion of practice, which involved the offense starting at the defense's 40-yard line, Tagovailoa hit rookie wideout Eric Ezukanma deep down the middle. Love it, man. Love what we're hearing. With room to run into the end zone. Let's see. And Eric Ezukanma down the right sideline for a touchdown entirely through the air. Oh, baby, let's go. Eric, man, I'm telling you, I reported this too, man. I'm telling you, if camp ended today and we were only carrying 6, our 6 would be Hill, Waddle, Cedric Wilson, Ezukanma, Trent Sherfield, and Braylon Sanders. Lynn Bowden Jr. and Preston Williams are officially, as of today, on the outside looking in. I haven't heard great things about Bowden, so it's interesting how the shaping, and we saw this all coming. We talked about this last week, right? We talked about this. If they're carrying 6, that Braylon Sanders is, I told y'all last week that I was hearing he's not even a dark horse anymore. He's a legitimate dark horse, and he's turning, he's turning from a dark horse to not even a dark horse anymore as a legitimate threat to the 6th spot. So, man, we'll see how it rolls. The running backs found space too. Myles Gaskin had a pair of gaping holes open up runs through the middle. Chase Edmonds had something open up for him through the left side. Although left tackle Terron Armstead didn't participate in team portions of practice, even 2021 7th round pick Jared Dokes had a sizable gain along the right side. Dolphin defenders are sure to be itching to get to tackle their offensive teammates in practice to come. Even then, there were instances when the defense stood its ground. Melvin Ingram had an early run stop. Zach Seiler and John Jenkins combined to stuff another run up the middle. Brendan Scarlett had another, and Calvin Munson registered a tackle for a loss on Zaquandre White. Tagovailoa also threw that interception towards the end of practice to a cornerback, Trill Williams, coming down with it one-handed. Trilla! Hill wore the orange jersey on Monday's practice as the player of the day from the last session on Saturday, when he had his 65-yard touchdown over the top of the defense among an array of catches. I gotta say, did they listen to my rant where I wasn't taking the orange jersey as serious as I would like to, about how I truly believed in that? And now that I've been seeing stuff, and because I said, I need to see someone win it 2 days. And why hasn't Hill had it? He's been explosive. And what happened? Holland the next day got it for a second day in a row, and now Hill's had it. It's like these guys listen to me, bro. What's going on? Williams had a highlight reel one-handed interception on Tagovailoa where he said, speaking after the day's drills, he kept his feet in bounds. There could have been a miscommunication on the route between Tagovailoa and Waddle. That's apparently what happened, that there was major miscommunication between Waddle and Tagovailoa on the pass today. Waddle won a red zone one-on-one against Xavier Howard, where Howard covered him about as tight as possible, but Tagovailoa was able to get it through to his target. We'll show that clip in a bit. The previous two practices, Howard had pass breakups and manned up against Hill. Duke Riley made an impressive breakup against Hunter Long in the end zone, where Long had it in his grasp before Riley ripped it out. Skylar Thompson rolled out right and threw across his body for a red zone touchdown to the middle of the end zone to Trent Sherfield. Thompson also had shorter throws to Hill and Izukama that they ran in for scores after the catch, and later one to tight end Tanner Connor. Nice to see Tanner Connor's name's popped up. If you don't stand a chance of making the team, but that's a nice potential practice squad addition. Tagovailoa had one red zone rep where he bought time and scrambled left for a 10-yard touchdown run. He also threw for scores to Edmonds, and Sethan Carter's name popping up. That's like the first time. And while I take this sip from my Tyreek Hill cup, you can go to save 15% off at Pick Six Apparel by using code Phinside the NFL. You can get a cup like that at pick6apparel.com. Just use my code. Continuing on, shameless plug. Thompson, who got more reps with Teddy Bridgewater not throwing on Monday, held on to the ball too long on multiple plays. In red zone one-on-ones, Edmonds had a rep where he beat Jerome Baker to the outside for a catch and score. Javon Holland broke up a pass to Mike Gesicki. Brandon Jones got the best of Durham Smythe. Landon Roberts forced a Tagovailoa throwaway, and Quilty Wilson had a pass deflection guarding Connor toward the end of Monday's session. Eldrick Redwine, here we go, had near interceptions during a red zone team drill and a one-on-one covering Adam Shaheen. Lynn Bowden muffed a punt. See, that's not good. Lynn Bowden and Preston have now muffed punts. Preston's drop passes. I've heard Lynn Bowden's showing no juice at camp. What's going on here, man? Wow. After Hill and lineman Blaze Andrews put on a show before Saturday's practice to pump up the fans, Monday drill saw Thompson and rookie wide receiver Brilliant Sanders do a mock version with no fans in attendance. Their version, the gritty dance, in what was perhaps a dress rehearsal for Tuesday when fans are allowed back to camp. Stock up, Trill Williams brought down his second interception of training camp with his one-hander on Monday against Tagovailoa. He's previously had a pick six against Bridgewater. The undrafted second-year player who made the team as a rookie last season is making the most of his opportunities with Howard and Byron Jones not involved in 11-11 work. Oh, baby. See, Noah, that's what you need to be doing, Noah. You've been here now 3 years. This guy's second year. Look at making the opportunities. Made the most of the opportunities last year, snuck in on the team. Now he's making the most of his opportunities. He's picked off both quarterbacks, and he's elevating himself. See, Noah? I had a higher grade on him coming out of Syracuse than you coming out of Auburn anyways, but my point still stands. Come on, bro. You got all this athleticism. You got all the tools in the world. And you're not even a footnote in training camp reports. Unbelievable. Stock down, Mike Gesicki has not been very involved as a passing target through the 5 practices, which has to call into question his role in this new offense when Hill and Waddle are seeing so much work. Maybe they just don't want to show all of y'all. Maybe y'all going to see come out of nowhere, baby. Gesicki was blanketed by Holland in one-on-one that Holland broke up in the end zone. Injury report, Bridgewater was limited on Monday's practice and did not throw in team drills. Dieter and Butler remained out. Lovett was also held out for an undisclosed injury. Armstead was at practice in position drills but did not participate in team portions. Raheem Mostert and Alec Ingold wore red jerseys at practice. All I gotta say, Trill that dude right now. Shout out to Trill Williams. Wakes up every morning and makes the most of his opportunities. No Igbenogany. All you're going to do is line my pockets in my bet with ball game that you don't work out. Which I wish you would have proved me wrong. I would have gladly paid Mr. Ballgame. No problem paying ball game a couple $100 if that means you end up living up to your first round hype. That's the kind of fan I am. I'm literally willing to pay for your success. Travis Wingfield, day 5 thoughts. He said Tyreek and Waddle caught intermediate passes and took off for long touchdowns with nice moves in the open field. Hill from Tua, Waddle from Thompson. Tua also found Izakama for a 40-yard strike in this period on a broken play. Stepped up and dropped a dime, baby. Let's go. Waddle caught another short, quick hitter from Tua, and my goodness, the speed left everybody near him in the dust and gained a solid 30 before the downfield coverage converged and stopped him. Oh, baby, it's coming. I know it. Tua was sharp again today, but the pads need to come on. I need to see this in joint practices and preseason with the pads on. Regular season, I need to see this translate to every new step. Tomorrow we translate to the new step of pads. I need to see this. Then we translate to joint practices. And I need to see this. Then we translate to preseason games. I need to keep seeing this. Then we translate to the regular season. I need to keep seeing this. Let's go. Tua was sharp again today. We heard McDaniel praise his red zone skill set, and I think we saw that ball was out quick, and the accuracy he had, which was magnified in this area, was really on display today. TDs to Edmonds, Carter, and Waddle in one period. Zach Seiler, the most underrated player in the NFL, had one of the most dominant practices I've seen yet. One-on-ones, team, run, pass, it didn't matter. Wouldn't be surprised to see him in the orange tomorrow. Nice. I like it. Raekwon Davis was very good, both against the run and pass, too. Christian Wilkins had one of my favorite reps where he got an immediate pressure, forced a Tua throwaway, then proceeded to chase the ball 10 yards out of bounds and retrieved it. Guy's motor never stops. Love it. I saw Wes Welker doing the gritty today. That's the tweet. Myles Gaskin had a pair of shifty runs, one a winding 11-yard touchdown run in the red zone, another big gash for 10. I like that. Gaskin's making, hey man, make some noise, Gaskin. I don't want to see you go out in a whimper like Noah is in his battle with Igbenogany. Let's go. Kept my eyes on the trenches during one-on-ones and thought the line really acquitted itself nicely across the board. Sealer had the most wins, but for the most part, the line held up against a tough group of pass rushers. Trill Williams grabbed another pick on what looked like a miscommunication in red zone work. The ball went one way, Waddle another from Tua, and Williams reached back with one hand and pulled it in. His ball skills have shown up all camp. Thought McKinley was good in coverage. There you go. Verone showed up. Love it. More, and then he had more in his little training camp sessions. Now, with that said, let's move over to Elaine Poupar and Sports Illustrated and what Elaine saw today. The Miami Dolphins had a low, more subdued practice Monday when the media members were the only non-team employees at the Baptist Health Training Complex. Rookie Skylar Thompson and Braylon Sanders got things off on a funny note when they started duplicating the pumping up efforts of Tyreek and Blaze Andres for the crowd at the practice Saturday. Thompson and Sanders both jogged towards the mostly empty stands and swung their hands in the air, with Sanders and Thompson capping the whole thing by doing the gritty dance. And then it was time for practice. Let's dive into the report. Obviously, Butler and Dieter, he reports, were out again. So was Lovett. Mozart and Alec Ingold were in their non-contact jerseys, and Armstead was backed after load management, but was not spotted in team drills. Bridgewater was limited because of an undisclosed injury and did not take part in team drills. His top performers was Trill Williams, continued strong work in camp with a one-handed interception against Tagovailoa in the corner of the end zone in a goal-to-go period. Wide receiver Jalen Waddle had 2 nice receptions down the field in a 5-play sequence, the first from Thompson and the second from Tagovailoa. Myles Gaskin showed a nice burst on a running play and easily beat rookie Channing Tindall in a one-on-one passing drill from just outside the 10-yard line, though it needs to be pointed out that the drill heavily favors the offensive player who has half the width of the field to beat the defender in coverage one-on-one. His QB watch, and like he says every time, because it's training camp, we need to talk about the quarterback performances every practice. It was going to be a tough to top or even match what happened in practice Saturday for Tua, though the second half of practice was much better than the first. By our official count, Tua completed 9 of 14 passes with 1 interception by Williams, and there were a couple of touchdowns in goal line situations, including throws to Preston Williams and Sony Michel. Okay, so we haven't heard about that yet, right? There also was a 40-yard touchdown pass to Eric Uzakama, but that one comes with a heavy asterisk because it came on a broken play where Tua held the ball for a very long time before the rookie got behind the defense. That was one of many examples of pressure getting to Tua, forcing him to scramble or him not finding an open receiver before the pressure got to him. Thompson was 5 for 9 in team periods, according to our stats, with his best pass, a 20-yard hookup with Waddle on a deep in. Thompson, that's called a dig route, my friend. Thompson also had a couple of touchdown passes in red zone situations, including one to Trent Sherfield after he rolled out to his right and threw to his left in the middle of the field. Like Tua, Thompson had his share of plays where he just can't find an open receiver. Other practice observations he had, since it's become an issue worth tracking, there again were a couple of high shotgun snaps by Connor Williams, though it was a better outing in that department than Saturday. Calvin Munson blew up that running play where he got in the backfield to meet rookie Zaquandre White. Safety Brandon Jones, whose coverage skills have come into question, had a nice pass breakup against Durham Smythe in one-on-one drills in the red zone. Duke Riley had a nice pass breakup in the back of the end zone after it appeared tight end Hunter Long was ready to catch a touchdown pass. To his best throw of the day came when he hit Moser deep down the seam. Hey. We haven't heard anyone hype up that Moser throw the way he did, but okay. Hal Habib, not Joe Shad, was at day 5 of practice for the Dolphins today, and he said after a day off Sunday, the Dolphins were back at training camp Monday morning for their final practice before the pads come on Tuesday. Defensive coordinator Josh Boyer said the non-padded practices have been productive because of the intensity of Coach Mike McDaniel's shorter practices, which have emphasized going at game speed when running plays. Observations from today: Gaskin broke a nice run through traffic up the middle. Tagovailoa found Mike Gesicki over the middle for a score and goal line drills. There you go. Gesicki getting on the board. Duke Riley had a nice pass breakup against Hunter Long on a goal line pass thrown by Skylar Thompson. We'll show that clip. Thompson recovered to hit Tyreek for a 6-yard score, then followed with a scoring pass to Trent Sherfield on the next play. Tagovailoa scrambled into the end zone for about 10 yards out. Michael Dieter and Adam Butler were not spotted once again, while Moser and Alec Ingold wore red non-contact jerseys. Hill was Saturday's practice player of the day, so he wore an orange number 10 jersey and played DJ for the day. Jamming by Bob Marley was typical of his selections. Yes, he also caught passes and ran routes. Tagovailoa hit rookie Eric Uzakama with a 40-yard score for a 40-yard score with Brandon Jones, the closest defender, in a play the Dolphins hope to show fans often in 2022. Hill caught a pass from Tagovailoa, then turned on the Jets to beat everyone into the end zone on a 40-yard catch and run. Teddy Bridgewater was limited, and Chase Edmonds had a productive day, especially as a receiving option. So also the Dolphins announced that registration is open for the annual Dolphins Challenge Cancer Drive set for February 24th, 2023. So for all of you those interested that will be going, there you go. So, man, overall, Trill Williams makes another play. Tua looks sharp for the most part. I mean, our receivers are just doing their thing right now with no Byron and X on a limited basis. So you love to see that. The running game seems, now Gaskin's picking it up, but hey, the pads come on. And, with the offensive line, the running game and the defensive line, we're really going to get, a better grasp of how guys are performing with at least the pads on, right? And then once obviously joint practices, we'll get some true answers and such. So, man, overall, seemed like a pretty good day. And Tyreek getting that orange jersey, you'll love it, man. You'll love it. Love it, man. So let's continue on here. What I'm going to show you now, guys, is the highlights from today. And I'm also, after I show you the highlights, I'm going to show you, there was a couple highlights from Saturday that came out after the fact I wanted to take a look at because it showcased 2 Chase Edmonds runs, and we haven't had a chance to see Chase Edmonds in this offense running yet. So Has there been any news about Kellen Deesh? You know, I've heard he looks good out there. But you know, it's an open battle, and I mean he's not separating himself right now. But I've heard he looks good out there, and he looks like a good good swing tackle candidate, is what I've been told. So that's what I've been told about Kellen Deesh. Oh, okay. So yeah, I'm gonna show you because on one play, Austin Jackson gets blown up a little bit, guys. Austin Jackson gets blown up a little bit, but Jalen Phillips ain't pretty. But we'll take a look at it, and we'll go over the highlights from today for those of you who missed them. And if you have been on social media today, again, there was no extra stuff that came out like usual. So we'll go over them for you guys right now, all right? So here are the highlights from today. Again, nothing crazy if you have already been on social media and seen them. Tyreek in the orange jersey, boys warming up, getting loose, baby, getting loose. And there you go. Look at that breakup. Beautiful breakup, man. Duke Riley putting in the work. Great breakup there by Duke. Here is Tua. Look at that coverage by X, and look at that keyhole accuracy to Waddle, baby. Let's go. And then here, ooh, Chase Edmonds in for the score. And Keon Crossan putting in the work after practice. Gotta love him, man. I've heard so many great things about this guy, man. I had some things to say about him in my Patreon update today. I've heard great things about him. Heard great things about what Keon Crossan is doing. So yeah, nothing too crazy. If you've been on social media, you've pretty much seen that stuff today. But the stuff that you guys may have missed from Saturday. Chase Edmonds, guys. Check this out. A couple Chase Edmonds runs for you from Saturday, because we haven't really had a look at them running. Look at that. He actually gets put on his ass. It's in there. Chase Edmonds. And then here you go. Chase Edmonds gets to the edge here on this run. Right? So just some quick stuff. We haven't had a chance to really see Chase Edmonds yet. Obviously, the concerning part is Jalen Phillips putting Austin on his ass so easily. If you guys haven't had a chance to see it too, I wanted to play this. On CBS Miami, they had on their training camp all access, they had a portion of it about the quarterbacks in camp and how they've looked so far. Here's what they had to say today regarding it's Kim Bocamper and such, and this is what they had to say regarding how they've looked at camp.
All right, good evening. Welcome to Camp Dolphins All Access. I'm Kim Bocamper. Joining me, our quarterback, John Conjemian. Since we're here for the start of week 2 of training camp, let's talk about the quarterbacks, what we've seen. We've talked about the coaches, offensive line, the important position, the quarterback position. I know you've been out here every day. What have you seen from the two top guys?
Well, I think starting with Tua, obviously, he's had a command of the offense. Mm-hmm. There's a lot to learn. You know, everybody has high expectations of what this offense can do, but everybody kind of forgets that there's new terminology, there's new plays, there's new schemes, and I think matching up motion and getting everybody lined up where they're supposed to be, there's a lot of nuances to this offense, and I think that Tua, you know, getting experience early in this camp of motion and directing people, and then actually going through his job of putting the football out on time and on target. A lot of things to handle early, but I thought Teddy and Tua has done a really good job of really moving the offense and getting the offense up to the line of scrimmage and executing the way I would think Coach McDaniel would like to see.
It's nice to have Teddy Bridgewater back here, Northwestern High guy coming back to town. And what can he give to Tua with the experience that he's had?
Well, I think it's just that, Bo. It's experience. It's him coming in and knowing that there's going to be no fall off from Tua to Teddy, because you have to have that confidence in an offense that, hey, your guy may be down for a quarter. He may be down for 2 plays. He might be out for 2 weeks. And you have to have a guy that be able to step in and really be seamless. And I think that's what Teddy gives you. He gives you the confidence that you know that you're going to have to be able to put the whole entire offense out in display. You don't have to really protect when Teddy's in the football game. So I think so far he had a day off today, which is probably just maintenance for him. But I think that you've seen both quarterbacks move the offense, execute well, and really complete passes at a high level.
And I tell you, well, you got the 2 receivers out there. You got Tyreek, you got Waddle out there, and they're catching everything in sight. These guys are doing a pretty good job getting the ball in their hands.
Well, I think before we started, we talked about Jalen Waddle. I don't think he's dropped a pass the entire camp, even on the judge machine, you know? So this is a guy you can count on. And Tyreek's getting a lot of the attention, and deservedly so, because he brings a different dynamic to this offense. It was shown on Saturday with the long pass, but he threatens people, and their speed together backs defenses off the line of scrimmage, and it gives more room to the middle of the field for guys like Mike Gesicki, for the backs coming out of the backfield. It gives you more room to operate, and I think that's important for this offense. If they're going to be able to run, if they're going to be able to get to play action, it's going to be the speed of those 2 guys getting more room for others, and I think it helps the quarterbacks out with managing where they can go with the football.
Over the last number of years, his offense has been a little dull at times. I think we're going to see a lot of excitement this year, Johnny.
I think so, too. A lot of explosive plays, and it doesn't always mean that 65-yard over the top. It's catch and run with these guys, getting the ball out on time, and I think it's going to be fun for Dolphin fans to finally get out and say, you know what, you're not going to be able to outscore us. With that defense on the other side, and with those 2 dynamic players, and you got a quarterback that hopefully is growing into what we all want him to be, it's going to be exciting times for Dolphin fans.
A lot of good stuff. That's going to do it for Dolphins, Camp Dolphins All Access. For John Conjemi, I'm Kim Camper. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Guys, check your motherfucking pulse right now, baby. Let's go. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. And even you see Skylar Thompson making plays when he's getting those Bridgewater reps today. Love it, man. Love it. I'm loving it. We might be a problem. Whoo! I said we might come out and we might catch people off guard with this offense. Man, I wish X, now the pads are coming off. I wish X and Byron are going to be out there for every rep. Really, I do. I'm not even lying. So we can get an even better, gauge of practice. I'm not even going to front to y'all. All right, let's get into Josh Boyer. Let's go ahead. Let's get into his media availability from today and what he had to say. If you guys haven't had a chance, there's some interesting things he said that I want to talk to, especially regarding Mike McDaniel. So let's take a look.
Haven't got into pads yet. When the real fun starts. But I'm wondering, with Coach McDaniel being the offensive play caller, how much do you look forward to the opportunity to kind of clash your ideas with his and kind of match wits per se?
Yeah, I think it's to answer that is really kind of twofold. One, we got pads coming up tomorrow, but I would say the way that the practice structure is structured, and Coach McDaniel has done a great job with this. Is all of our practices need to have like good intent and be deliberate on what we're doing, because we're only given so many practices.
Quality, not quantity, guys.
Now, once you add the pads, that adds a little bit different element to it. But I think collectively working as an offense and defense, we're getting good work without pads. And so that's been good. I would say all the way back to the spring, to answer the other part of your question, is we've been talking philosophy, scheme, things that that we view defensively that may hurt their scheme, or things that they view offensively that may hurt our scheme. And then ultimately it comes down to execution. So it's been good to have the back and forth and to have those conversations, and they've continued on a daily basis. We usually have them, every day, and talking about things that are coming up, or, hey, this stresses us on this, or this stresses us on this. Those conversations are constant.
I love that. The meeting of the minds between Boyer and McDaniel. Hey, we figure we can beat your offense this way, fix it up. McDaniel saying to him, hey, we can beat your defense this way, tighten it up. I love the back and forth, the open line of communication, but also the meeting of the minds and playing off each other of, hey, if you find out a way to beat my unit, let me know. Because you're going to see it throughout the season.
Blocking attack, this particular 49ers, Shanahan, Broncos style attack that can in general pose specific problems for any defense?
Yeah, well, first of all, I mean, they're going to test your edges. You got to do a good job of setting.
He was just asked about Shanahan's
setting
offense.
your edges, and then once you do that, if they can get you moving laterally, that puts creases in the defense.
Yep.
And then obviously they do a great job of marrying the play action with the run. So again, that you're trying to stay square. You're not trying to run lateral. Then all of a sudden it's a pass. You got to get back to your drop. So it puts a lot of stress on a lot of players in different positions.
All about conflict,
they do a great job with the receivers. I know everybody's talking about Tyreek and Jalen, their speed, them getting down the field, but those guys are doing an outstanding job blocking. They're making it really hard for us defensively to tell whether it is run or pass.
Our best
so
blocker
all those
in the
things,
wide receiver
they
room.
try to put you in a run-pass conflict, which good offenses are going to do.
Yeah.
You mentioned that because you're back.
Conflict, guys.
Players that return. He used the word algebra. He said that you guys are essentially able to practice algebra out there. How much more advanced do you feel you guys are able to be, and you'll be able to be in your installation, in your teaching, and your practice speed because of the familiarity?
Well, I think a lot of it starts with there's some continuity on the staff. So, that puts us at a starting point where we feel like we can get the installation where we want. The players, there's a familiarity there. So we can kind of increase that installation. And then the additions and the tweaks to things that we are doing that we think will help us, they happen at a much more rapid pace. And so for new guys or guys that are coming in, that learning curve's a little bit steeper. But again, that just gives us a good opportunity as coaches, which all of our assistants have done a great job of, is getting those guys caught up to speed.
Let's go. Just quickly, guys. Juice says, Sup, Reese, what do you think about Watson's suspension? And I just wanted to know your prediction on how the games will go when Watson comes back. Brother, go check out the beginning of the show. In my opening monologue, I talked about Watson. So it's all right there, bro. Just go back and check it out. It's all right there for you. Also, shout out to the homie Topher for the $9.99 donation. Appreciate you, homie.
Yeah, I think they've definitely taken some strides. I think we're seeing that here out on the field. Obviously, the end game is to make sure that we get production when it comes to Sundays, but that's a long process. They're definitely at a further starting point than they were a year ago, which is naturally to be expected. But I think the fact that
our defense
both of those
gonna
guys
ball,
have grown,
baby.
I would say physically, mentally, and emotionally has been great for us, and hopefully we see good things from those guys all the way through.
You talked a little bit about offensive scheme, but can you talk about some of the personnel on the other side? How much of different was that attack this year than the years past facing here in Miami, even though it's kind of early?
Yeah,
So he's being asked about attacking all the new
philosophically,
personnel on
a
the
different
other side.
scheme and what they're trying to do. I mean, obviously, you guys have talked about that a little bit with the outside zone, the play action off of that. They're trying to stress you, really vertically and horizontally as an offense to a defense. I would say, from a personnel standpoint, obviously, Tyreek, Cedric, those are some new guys. You got some new guys on the offensive line. And I would say, every day you can see improvement. And that's the big thing for us is we expect and hope to see, back and forth day to day. And usually a good play from the offense is a great opportunity for us defensively to coach off of that and to get better. And a good play for us defensively, in turn, is a great play for the offense to learn from that and coach it and get better.
Love that. Exactly, Josh.
I do. Yeah, I do. Well, last night I talked to my sister because she goes to Disney quite often, and my wife was asking me about something at Disney World, so I called her. But usually, my dad every day. It's mostly football. A lot of it, we'll talk about my daughter a little bit, but yeah, I mean, there is definitely because the high school, much like our off season, the acclimation period, the pads. You don't really have the two-a-days. The high school, it's a little bit different. They got like a 2-week period to get, 5 days in. So a lot of it is, and then we do talk about some scheme, certain things, but it's definitely an enjoyable thing for me. Hopefully I can do that for a long time, talk to him on the ride home. He is. He's still coaching. So this is 40, I don't know,
Pyro,
probably
you
44, 45 years, somewhere in there for him. For him. No, he coached at the rival school. So that was an interesting dynamic. So he coached me once in an all-star game, and that was it was a good experience, but it was probably enough for both of us, so that was good.
You mentioned the word tweaks, which is always going to be the case when coaches come and go. Everybody wants to put their own sort of fingerprint on things. I'm curious, to what extent do you sort of feel like tweaks may be evident to us and fans sort of on game day, as opposed to like, hey, you know what? I'm actually adding these concepts or adding these specific plays to our playbook in the off season and end of the season.
Well, I think from a starting standpoint, there's always a base of concepts that you want to run or install, and you're going to kind of hang your hat on that. As you go out there and run them, and it could be something that you've run for years, and you're like, oh, okay, well, the offense is evolving, they're changing something to this. You're always trying to put the players in the best position possible as moving forward. So I think, and a lot of times sometimes stuff starts with an idea, and then it just, I would say even some things that we've done in the past, you'll see that probably in a different light. But at the same time, like the core things of what we do our install, we try to put that in a logical teaching progression, but all calls, whether they're calls that I would say that we've probably been running since I came into the league, you're always looking to go, is there a better way to do it? Do we need to, shade this guy here on this? Do we need to change our leverage on this? There's the variables are, astronomical when you think about, okay, one, what can we do? And two, what are they doing to us?
Yeah.
This might be sort of a random or almost impossible question to answer, but when the season is over, when any football season is over, how many times would you have run a play, just ballpark, won a game where you sort of never ever brought the corner from that look? You know what I mean? It's the first time you've ever brought the corner from that look. Is that kind of like a once a game thing, or maybe a once every few games thing?
I think, that's, again, it just depends. Really, that's a game plan oriented thing. I think you're always trying to disguise your looks. You never, and even if you line up and you want to be able to do multiple things out of that same look, or it may be, okay, we're showing you one thing, but going to play another. I think as you go, there's always going to be changes. And usually the season kind of goes in quarters, like 4 games here, 4 games here. And most teams are going to mix some change-ups in there as you go. But a lot of it's predicated onto what you're seeing from the offense from week to week. Because, again, like facing our offense, completely different than facing Buffalo, Cincinnati. That's just a different offense.
In the Pro Bowl, they're only allowed to run like a vanilla-based defense in the Pro Bowl. I get it, they're not that much fun. But are there moments where you and Mike aren't going to know what the other guy has set up, like an intentional?
Listen, guys.
Like, hey, we're not going to. Is it the scrimmages? Is it some 11-on-11 full speed pads where you won't want to know too much about Mike's idea for the day?
I generally do not know what they're doing on offense. I kind of know
Love
what the
it.
personnel is, the down and distance and stuff like that. And then we have periods where, they'll just be calling it on offense and we're reacting to what they're doing defensively. So we'll just call there, and all you really know defensively is the personnel. And there will be times that if there's a situation, be like, hey, can you give us this personnel? We need it on this hash. Or, and he'll say, hey, can you give us this front or this? There's a couple times that happens, but generally, Mike, he kind of scripts it. He knows what we're doing. And then we'll have periods that are just straight call it periods where he's calling it, he's sending in the personnel, and then we react to it defensively.
Love it. Oh my God. A nice little battle between Boyer and McDaniel in the call-in periods. That's amazing. That is amazing. Just a meeting of the minds. Oh man, that is freaking awesome. Shout out to Topher for the other for the other $9.99 donation. He says, shout out to Rhino for giving out 15 or 20 subs today. Y'all are wild out in the comments, bro. Pyro had me laughing, bro, because him and Ryan are going back and forth. Hilarious. Man, I mean, honestly, love it. I love that they're working together, but I also love that they're challenging each other like that. Beautiful stuff, guys. That is the stuff you want to see and the stuff you want to hear. And they're getting along. Go look at that too. So, over 600 of you in the room. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you are new. Continuing on, we ain't done. For all of you old heads. Uh-oh, you might not like this. Buckle up. The new coach is in place. He arrived despite being overshadowed by the big name thought to be the Dolphins' first choice. He's different from his predecessor, creating a fresh air effect and high hopes. Mike McDaniel and the 2022 Dolphins. The description applies, but one Dolphins Hall of Famer can't help but see similarities between 2022 and what he experienced in 1970. Yes, fullback Larry Csonka compares today to when Don Shula arrived. Oh boy, I can already hear people's steam coming out of their ears. I'm at a point right now where I'm really looking forward to their season more than I've looked forward to a season in the last 10 years to see if the new coach is the answer, Csonka told the Post, because he reminds me of when Shula came. He's so driven and he's so into the same things, and I see the same glimmer in his eyes. I'm hoping that I'm right. Csonka 75 was in town for their training camp session. And for the a few days of preparation for that season-long celebration of the 50th anniversary of the 17-0 team, and to promote his upcoming memoir, Head On. After spending time with McDaniel, who was hired instead of Sean Payton, Csonka couldn't help but point out similarities to 1970 when the Dolphins were expected to hire Bear Bryant, but ended up with Don Shula, and we all know how that turned out. He is decidedly pointed at winning, or gives the impression of being as decidedly pointed towards winning as Shula was in 1970, Csonka said. Now, that's my impression. We'll see what happens. I don't think that guy is going to let any leaf stay unturned. Csonka encouraged McDaniel to remain committed to the details because it served Shula so well. When I reiterated to him what I thought of Don Shula and how he played and how he was relentless in pursuit of winning, it perked him right up, Csonka said. He recognized the factors when I said the worst thing you could do on a Shula team was go through the motions. And, I mean, you hear that, right? He wants to make, because he gets into Csonka and everything going on. He wants to make every rep count. Every rep count. Csonka was a second-year fullback in 1969 when change was afoot. Despite going 3-10-1 that year, Coach George Wilson was so liked by the players that they were disappointed when he was fired, Csonka wrote. Imagine the shock of going from a player's coach who gave the team days off if he deemed it too hot to practice to adjusting to Shula, who instituted 4-a-day practices. The new sheriff in town changed one other thing. The Dolphins went 10-4 in Shula's first season, made the playoffs, and laid the foundation for 3 straight Super Bowl appearances, including wins by the 1972 and 1973 teams. You go from guys saying, we're going to line up and we might win, we might not on Sunday, to a guy like Shula who's driven to win, Csonka said. Csonka knows it's a different world in the NFL today. Neither McDaniel nor Shula could force players to practice 4 times a day this training camp because of collective bargaining rules don't allow it. Besides, McDaniel has taken a more personal approach with each player than the stern Shula typically did. Csonka attendance at his practice, the first this summer that allowed fans in, came away feeling energized by the crowd. I get this overpowering feeling it's the beginning of something, Csonka said. So I'm hoping that our new coach and a lot of new personnel are not just going to go through the motions. I hope that this is for real and they are going to start to win. The fans deserve it. My goodness. Csonka's optimism isn't restricted to this year's team. Also raising his spirits is the recent announcement that the seniors committee placed former Dolphins guard Bob Kuchenberg's name back in the mix for enshrinement into the Hall of Fame. Miami's legendary 1972 front five already features Hall of Fame center Jim Lagner, Larry Little, but players from the perfect season have long said the late Kuchenberg deserves the same recognition. Csonka reiterates that message in his book. All right, so I mean, listen, I got something else I want to show you guys in regard to McDaniel, because this is what Jeff Darlington had to say on the Joe Rose show, and I just want you guys to take a listen to what he said. You know, he had talked to a bunch of people regarding him, and this is what was said. Listen to this, guys.
Human. Like when you get to know him, his authenticity is through the roof. Players love him. When he was coming down here, I talked to a bunch of guys with the 49ers, a ton of them. And I'm talking from all different walks of life. And they would stand in front of a truck for him. Like he is, I'm telling you, if you just think he's weird, it's because you haven't gotten to know him. He is awesome. And I don't know what it's going to equate to in wins and losses, but if you spend some real time with him and not just get weirded out by his eccentricities, you are going to love him. He is awesome. I promise you that.
Let me say this too. These first 4 practices have been energetic, well run, getting the most out of them, organized, productive. Yep. They've been fun to watch. They don't look sloppy. It looks, it looks like he's been around for a while. And by the way, what a coaching staff.
Dolphins fans should love his eccentricities. You know why? Because if it wasn't for some of those like quirkinesses, he'd be a head coach already somewhere else winning games. So the Dolphins fans should be glad that this management team saw beyond that. I said it before.
We need to be happy of his OCD.
Everybody else couldn't. This is his only head coaching interview he's ever gotten. And he is right there with Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan and Matt LaFleur and all those other guys. He has been with them the entire time. The only reason he wasn't getting job interviews is because he was a little more eccentric than everybody else.
Yeah.
We'll take it. We'll take that in some wins. Jeff.
Boy, you brought your A-plus game. And by the way, that marketing guy.
So, I mean, you hear it's great things no matter who you talk to about Mike McDaniel throughout the league. And, man, just like our quarterback, just like some of these players on the team like Tyreek, couldn't cheer for a better person to get success than Mike McDaniel. And then finally, guys, from the Miami Herald, just some updates on Connor Williams and such, and some other Dolphin notes. The lineman in the middle of the Dolphins offense has a new position. The lineman in the middle of the Dolphins defense has a new body. The upshot during the first 5 days of Dolphins training camp has been a highly competitive interior battle between former Cowboys guard Connor Williams and slimmed down defensive tackle Raekwon Davis. Who's ahead of the other will be easier to gauge when the pads come on for the first time in camp on Tuesday. Williams, a left guard in Dallas, has made a generally smooth transition to center. Though he hasn't made any egregiously bad snaps that have sailed over the quarterback's head, more than a handful of his snaps haven't been in the perfect spot either, which seem to have disrupted the rhythm of a few running plays. But the Dolphins seem to believe the snapping will become more consistent as he logs more work at the position. At the very least, he's competent snapping, and his blocking, albeit without pads, has been fine. It's definitely progressed, and it becomes second hand when you're not even thinking about it, Williams said when asked how to success. Like, why aren't we just putting him at left guard and him and Terron Armstead be one of the best left guard tandems in football, and go get someone? Go get Matt Paradis. Go pony up the cash for Treader. I mean, go trade for Keith Ishmael, who's buried down the depth chart in Washington. There's options, man. having to adjust to defensive calls, in the heat of the moment, having to adjust to defensive calls, and they get off a little bit. 2 weeks after he signed in free agency, the Dolphins informed Williams they would use him at center, at least in the offseason program. He has remained there in the training camp, largely because he has a skill set to thrive in the position in Miami's wide zone scheme. And that decision also allows the Dolphins to give Eichenberg a greater opportunity to get playing time. See, I told y'all, I feel like they said, hey, not only can you make Tua work in this offense, can you make Austin Jackson and Eichenberg work, because we invested a lot in them. Connor Williams is fast, David said. He's a great center. Has been good ever since he's been here, man. And like Adam Pankey is getting the backup work at center right now because they refuse to address it, because they know, I think they know if they bring in a very capable backup, he's going to knock Connor back to left guard, and Eichenberg's going to be with nowhere to go except into a right tackle battle with Jackson, which he's probably not going to win. Connor Williams is fast, Davis said. He's a great center. He's been good ever since he's been here. Williams indicated he hasn't had any negative feelings about the position switch. I love it. I think it's been a good transition. As for Davis, a third-year pro, said he's close to his lightest weight since his sophomore season at Alabama. Davis would not reveal how much weight and body fat he shed, but defensive line coach Austin Clark quantified it as a great margin of both, especially from OTAs. That's all the credit to him and his strength staff. He showed up in very good shape. Physically, the way he showed up in camp is the best he's been in 3 years. Oh, is he going to become that Chris Jones, that comp I made? Oh, you look at the tape and he looked like Chris Jones coming out. Let's go. We've got to get the techniques right and continue to work, but that alone has given him a good chance. Davis, who's listed at 6'7" to 335 pounds, said he shed the weight by eating healthier and doing more cardio work. He said he feels like a weight vest has been removed from his body. I feel loose and really good, he said. The weight loss hasn't affected his strength because I'm naturally a strong guy. I'm a powerful guy. God gave me that tool. The Dolphins have opened up the outside linebacker competition, and Andrew Van Ginkel is being pushed by Melvin Ingram, which, you know, if you've been even watching training camp reports, you would have come to that conclusion, because Ingram's been popping up a lot and AVG hasn't. Jalen Phillips working towards becoming a more every down player, and Van Ginkel have had good camps, and Darius Hodge has flashed. Whoever's the best will play, and whoever can help us win on Sunday, outside linebackers coach Tyrone McKenzie said. Last season, PFF rated Brandon Jones among the best pass rushers at his position, but his coverage grade was one of the lowest. An excellent blitzer, Jones had 5 sacks, but allowed a 114.2 passer rating in his coverage area, with 22 completions allowed on 25 targets for 305 yards or 13.6 yards per catch. But he did have an interception and allowed only 1 TD. New safeties coach Steve Gregory, who replaced Gerald Alexander, said Monday he has worked with Jones in coverage. There are definitely elements of his game we're trying to get better, from coverage to the deep part of the field. Gregory said, we want everyone to be versatile as a player and as versatile as possible, so you're not pigeonholed into being a one-trick pony. The more versatile we are, the more chess pieces we can fit in different places. It makes it harder on the offense. He's athletic, he's fast, he's smart. There's no reason why he can't do all the different things a DB needs to do on a down-in, down-out basis. Be able to cover guys, be able to cover tight ends, play the deep part of the field, be able to blitz, play zone coverage. All those things should encompass what he has the ability to do from a tool set standpoint. And hey, I mean, all of us are expecting another leap forward by Brandon Jones this year, especially after what he showed last year. Very, very impressive stuff. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to be back every night this week. We have camp. I will be back tomorrow at 8 o'clock. The pads, come on, baby. We're going to get some, a little bit more, you know, O-line stuff sorted out here. We're going to get, some running back stuff sorted out here, some trench stuff on the defensive side figured out here. So the pads are coming on, and baby, oh baby, I want y'all to realize this. We are, I believe, 12 days away? Yeah. 12 days away from the first preseason game. We're almost under double digits, people. We're getting there. And we're even less time till joint practices start. We are getting there, baby, and it's a beautiful thing. Listen, I love each and every one of you. I appreciate all y'all for coming out tonight. Tua's looking sharp. Receivers are killing it. Defense putting in work. I love it, man. There's a lot to like all around on both sides of the football right now. Stay positive, keep your head up, and let's get into pads tomorrow, baby. You already know what time it is. Until I see y'all tomorrow, as always, fins up all day, every day, even beyond the grave in which we'll lay, baby. Let's go.